Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's about 7:20 a.m. here on the East Coast. Prices of BTC currently at 10,635. All right, let's get to the analysis. Okay, folks, if you were part of the Advantage program, yesterday I mentioned that this area right here was really one of my first targets, and the next one is up here, as you can see, marked by the targets, right? 10,750 and about 11,100. I also stated in the Advantage member Bitcoin analysis that I said this white area would be the next area price could drop to. Okay, and you could see price yesterday was about 10,900 when it was up here, and I expected a drop back to this white line touch, and that's exactly what's going on, right? You can read this explanation right here. Okay, so if we do get rejected after hitting the target or the trend line, I look to the white trend line to be top first, or the first blue pivot around 10,400. Both could actually happen on this particular go right now. Okay, why does that particular area, this black trend line right here, need to be hit? Okay, well, I'll explain that to you. First things first, we've been moving up this white trend line. Every time we touch it, we move away from it really nicely, right? So over here, we bounce off it really nicely, come back to it, move away from it. Then we don't come back close to it, and then we just move away. And we went up a bit too overextended, and now we're looking to come back to it as support, or maybe even just down here around 10.4, and then potentially push back up. Okay, so your opportunity lies in either you could have shorted up here, or you could long when the price hits this trend line, or it hits this 10,400 and X target. I don't know exactly what price it's going to land, but I have it right near 10,441. Okay, so this is something to keep an eye on. All right, now again, folks, we are not people who make crystal ball predictions or anything. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong, but more often we're right than wrong, and our bets that are right are better payoffs than the trades that are wrong. Okay, so our winners are bigger than our losers. Okay, our losers we try to keep as small as possible. Okay, so with that being said, I personally think that this white trend line is going to be hit, and then excuse me, this area right here. And the reason I say this area around 10,400 is because this would be a perfect way to come back to this rejection right here, these rejections right here, this rejection area, all this rejection area, come tap it as support and then push off. That would be the perfect way to go about this movement right now. So the longs right here, I bet you, are stacked, and this is at least going to produce a pop at least towards 10,750 or so. And if it gets past that, I think, then the target becomes 10.9 and then 11.1 again. Okay? So again, prices can never just move straight up in a fashion. They zigzag, right? They stair step like this, and then they, push off. And you never know when you're going to get this kind of deep pullback. And if you didn't buy with our Advantage members, when we mentioned some of these calls, we started trading, I think, BTC around 10,000, 10,200, or somewhere around here, and got back into those trades, and we traded it, took some profit around 10.75, and now we're waiting on that final target of 11.1. Okay, all right. Another thing aside from this white trend line right here is I'm seeing something like this happen, which is a bit scary, because it could be something like maybe like a rising wedge, you can see, right? So if I make this line white, okay, so you can see that rising wedges kind of move like this, okay? They have broad movement at the beginning, all right? And then they tighten up, and usually what happens is rising wedges fall to the downside. And this could actually be happening right now. Okay, if it does just fall and it hopefully touches around 10.4 or something, that would be a great area for a price to stop and then push back up. Okay, So this could actually be playing out perfectly right now. So it's just something to keep an eye on, all right? This rising wedge. And again, if you think that we're going to go down completely, I mean, this could be a great shorting opportunity for you. I personally think we still got a bit more upside before potential more downside, but I'll discuss that in a little bit. All right. All right. Another thing that I wanted to point out is this. Okay. So far, what we've really seen is something like this. All right. Let me pull this out. What we're really doing is, moving sideways potentially in this range right here, this top to this bottom. Now if we break that, then we can talk about after this white trend line, then we can talk about the 10-4 targets, maybe even a bit deeper around 10,100, 10,200. I would be really concerned if that does happen, especially not getting like a V-shaped reversal. Like if we go straight down, rip through 10,400, and we just kind of move sideways right here around 10.1, then I'm concerned. Okay, then I'm definitely more concerned. But if we go like this, somehow we have a deep wick to 10.1 and then we like V-shape just reverse, then I'm not concerned. Okay, why? Because sometimes bulls just have to go on a liquidity hunt to scare out everyone, make everyone's panties just shake off, and then drop the prices to areas that people would not think of, and then just reverse and shoot back up. Okay. Let's see. We are also seeing maybe, let's see if it's over here. Could be a potential bullish divergence, but it's not. It doesn't seem like it's playing out like this low to this low, but it doesn't seem like it's a lower low just yet. Because I was gonna say, this is a low from lower low from here to here, and then a higher low from here to here, but it doesn't seem like it yet. Okay. All right. So, this is just one thing that we're seeing exactly play out, which is the potential sideways trading range. All right. So I'm going to just reduce this to 1 hour, and let's see what we got on the maybe the 4 hour. Let's see. Oh, actually, let me go back to this chart. Okay, so one other reason why I talked about this 10-4 marker. Okay, so pay attention right here. All right, I'm going to turn on these pivots. Okay, now again, pivots are not some magical lines that are just thrown on the chart. These are nothing but support and resistance levels that are critical for holding price up to a certain area to be able to be considered bullish on that time frame. Okay. Once prices start dipping under that pivot, then things get a little bit more rocky. It's not that prices have to fall further and we've given up the bullish trend and we're going to go to 8,000. That's not what that means. It just means that there's a temporary slip up in the price. It needs to reclaim that level and then get back to what it's supposed to be doing, which is keep going like this if it does get broken. Now, if the pivot does get broken and it then uses that same pivot as resistance, then more than likely we're going to go down a bit more further. Okay. All right. So with that being said, you can see that blue pivot. I know it's a bit hidden, but you can see it right there. Okay, which lines up perfectly with my 10,440 marker. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off for now, and let me see if the cloud helps at all. And you can see the cloud, the edge of the cloud is right around that area too. The bottom of this cloud actually resides around 10.1 or so. Okay, so it could be possible that we bounce all the way down to 10.1 with the wick. Again, like I said, I don't want that to happen. But if it does, I do expect a very sharp V-style reversal. Okay, that's not going to happen, then we have bigger problems to deal with. All right. Volume on the 1 hour looks somewhat decent. Buy side volume is dropping off just a little bit. Sell side volume is picking up a bit more consistently. Not something I'm too fond of, but overall, since over here, since last week, overall volume is just dropping off. And at the very least, buy side volume over the past few days has been picking up. Not enough to my liking, but enough to get the prices moving, right? It's really just about momentum, right, folks? Like, you got to get the prices moving and getting them to do something before the volume can really just follow and actually expand. Again, you can see on the 4-hour that white trend line being useful. And you can see right now, if it does drop straight down, it's around 10,400 and some change. Okay. Now, another thing on the 4-hour to note is that we are moving nicely in this bigger descending broadening wedge. Okay. So first, when I drew this did not exist. Okay. It was just 1, 2, 3 touches, 4 touches, and I mentioned a pullback on this, and then a push away. Now, I drew this line as well because this could be another larger descending broadening wedge, which then takes away this one, right? Not that that one doesn't exist, but it's just that you could also be making a play out of this, right? So there's, first touch right there, or actually first touch right there, second touch right there. This is kind of odd, actually. I don't know if this one makes total sense because you get 1, there's no 2 over here. All you do is get some white space up here and then a down. So I'd probably say this one makes the most sense. And that's kind of why I drew this. But this trend line is important to keep in mind. Okay, this trend line that price is coming to meet, again, around 11,000. Hasn't quite met it yet, right? So like I said, we could go down and then push back up too. Okay. On the RSI, the 4-hour still has a lot of room to go. We did have something like this moving for the RSI, and we just sort of broke down under it for this, trend line that you see. Okay. Let's see, kind of like that. I don't know why the line won't stay, but there you go. Something like that. We just broke down under it. And I would say it's actually even visible on the 1-hour as well if I pull it out just a little bit like that, right? So the RSI did break down under this nice ascending trend line. So it is a bit of a concern, but like I said, now we look for areas to potentially buy the dip, quote unquote, right? All right, let's go to the daily. Now you can see on the daily, this is where things also get, a bit more important. Okay, I'm going to turn on that pivot again. All right, now here's a daily pivot. So the daily yesterday broke above and closed at 10,900. I did say yesterday that this was a positive close. However, you do need a follow-up daily to be boosting away from that pivot. We've struggled the last 2 times ago, right? This one right here where we hit that pivot and then boom, came down. Okay, we don't want to do that here as well. All right, we did break through the pivot over here. Okay, so this was a positive sign, right? But over here, this one we broke through, but we did it on very unconvincing volume, and this is something that does concern me. Okay, we are bouncing off some really nice levels, some really nice confluence of price bouncing off this trend line. Touch 1, touch 2, touch 3 right there in the yellow, and touch 4 in the yellow. And this multiple 3-day doji reversal right here that you see, this is reaccumulation before the uprise, right? Like this, something that we even saw over here, reaccumulation and then push back up. But if we do get rejected right here on the pivot and we come back down, it's going to be tough to say, folks. I would not be surprised then if we go down to mid 8,000. Okay, why? Another reason based on fibs is because we barely made it past the 50 fib. Okay, let's see. As you can see right there, we just made it a hair above the 50 fib. So when this happens, all right, folks, I'm gonna make this a bit more clear for y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna delete that, and that. All right. So if this is truly the daily candle that's going to just rip down and start, maybe the next down move, right? This would not be a good sign because we hit the 50 and then, we just went straight down, which would be aggressive selling. Like if this is really where all price can do is reach up here and then come down, then there's going to be some aggressive selling that's going to start happening in the next 24 hours, probably maybe 48 hours. and that's going to probably just rip through this trend line. But again, we have to wait for the smaller time frames to then give us an idea if small and big, right? If that 10-4 level is going to break, if this white trend line that I spoke about right here, okay, this white trend line right here is going to hold, okay, if this 10-4 level is going to hold. All right, so we have to wait one level at a time. Okay, just like price can't go straight up, it can't just go straight down either. You're not going to see a big candle starting off at 10.5 go all the way to 8,500 in one shot, right? I mean, yes, it's possible, but is it likely? Not really. All right, so with that being said, let's see if 10.4 holds. Let's see then if the daily support holds, which is about 10,365. All right, this one right here. Okay, this is really the daily marker that we need to stay above, in my opinion. Okay, so if we do somehow hit this marker and we close above it, I still think there's somewhat of a positive sign in this, because we could do this kind of number right here. You can see this candle, right? Big shot up for 2 days, pulls back down for 2 days, and then shoots up for another 4 days. Okay, so in this, what really happened was, if we go from this top fib to this bottom, okay, you could see it shot just above the 50, kind of like this one did right here, pulled back to, I don't know how deep it went. Let's see how deep it went. Went back just below the 382 right here, and then pushed off again. Okay, so if that were to happen, something like that over here, all right, let's see where that would be. So it would be again below the 382, so that would be around 10.4, 10.3, right? So it could be something like this kind of push off. Not saying that fractals have to play out, but it's just something interesting to keep in mind that this does look a bit similar to this structure right here, where we did sort of break past that pivot as well. Okay, let's see how the daily RSI looks. I'm gonna delete this line again. You can see we are breaking above some key levels of RSI. We stayed above the 41 points. We're trying to break above that 47 points, which was again support as well. Support right there, support right there. And let's see if we can come back to tap it as support and then push off again. Okay, RSIs are really useful to use with horizontal trend lines and stuff. Let's see what all we gotta talk about. I did want to talk about this. Okay, so I follow Skew Markets quite a bit. They have really great research and data. Do follow them on Twitter. They were talking about how the volatility is decreasing in the space overall over the past few months, and it's now coming back to the liquidity is coming back to the same levels as when the Bitcoin bull run essentially started, which was the beginning of April, right around here, right? So you could see that sort of coming down to those levels again. So I don't know, maybe by the end of August we could see the price as well as the liquidity come down to this area where longs are far more enticing. Okay, now for longs to be far more enticing, all right, or enticed rather, okay, I personally think that something interesting in price has to happen. All right, now either price has to shoot down and come to very attractive levels, or it needs to break past certain areas. Okay, so for example, it needs to either break past this descending flag right here, or at the very least break above 12.2 or 12.3 successfully on a daily or 2 days, or it needs to come back all the way to this area right here around mid 8,000s. Okay, so there's going to be some key characteristics that price needs to fulfill to attract more liquidity, more buyers, more demand. Okay, and that's either breaking up past key resistance levels to show that the Bitcoin bulls are back and they're coming back with strength, or they need to come down to certain levels where price looks extremely attractive, undervalued, and almost aggressively ready to be more bullish. All right. Now for the latter case, which is the 8,000 levels to be attractive for price or for the price to come down there, what really needs to happen is either this could be the point where we just just rip on through and just go straight down. All right, so the first level to watch out for is the break of this black trend line. Okay, once that starts breaking, it's either time to short or it's either time to get out of your spot buys. Or you could say that if the daily starts closing under this black marker, which is the 10-3 marker, you could also get out, because technically the daily should not be closing under there, folks. Okay, it's just more cause for concern, and things just don't look so great when the daily that was just closed literally 24 hours ago is now already looking weak. All right, so it's all about technicals and understanding the supply and demand economics behind what we're looking at, the technicals. All right, so if price moves up for a day and then it comes back down again, that just means that there's not enough demand. There's not enough buyers willing to keep pushing the price up. There were buyers down here when they were bouncing off critical levels on whether it was a retrace of this trend line, the 9,000 levels looking attractive, maybe the 4-hour coming into oversold, all kinds of those technicals, right? Those look like very attractive levels, but they may not be attractive up here for maybe other professionals or retailers who missed the boat right here. What they might be interested in rather is selling, meaning shorting, okay? Because they think that, this is really just not going to work out. It seems like price is just looking really weak, so we might as well, short this thing down to 8,000s. All right. Something else that looks interesting is this BTC dominance. I did talk about this the other day. Here's that rising wedge that BTC dominance has been moving in. You can see right here, I kind of drew this with some chop, but if we just kind of line this up like that, you can see this is really that big rising wedge that we've been seeing. Okay, technically I would say price is starting to sort of breach it already. Okay, it's trying to do its best to stay within it, but if it doesn't and it falls, the next area for Bitcoin price, the dominance to come back to is right around this 60-point level. And for that to happen, for the dominance to drop, the price needs to drop as well. Okay, or maybe the alts just fanatically rise, but more than likely the price is definitely going to take an impact. All right. So you have some key levels to watch, right? You have that 10-4 level on the 4-hour, and on the 1-hour, you have the 10-3-6 level on the daily chart. You have this trend line to watch. You have this Bitcoin dominance to watch. Another thing that also concerns me is this, okay? Here's something that I find really interesting, all right? So Ethereum, after hitting that $360 top, all right, it's been in this downtrend. You can see this trend line right here. I'm going to make this yellow to make it stick out. Okay, it's been in this downtrend. It keeps respecting this trend line every time it hits it. So touch 1 right there. We'll touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, and touch 4. It's getting potentially rejected right there. Right. So if this does keep happening and price does fall, Ethereum more than likely will come back to these levels right here, which is around 150. Okay, that's a pretty steep drop, but that should be just enough for Bitcoin to go down to the mid 8,000s or so, which is again really where a lot of this sort of reaccumulation, maybe some sideways consolidation happened, all right here. Okay, so that'd be a perfect area for ETH to drop off into. Okay, you can see that these trend lines right here, trend line 1 right there, number 2, and this third one, all of them are broken. Okay, this again, things break down or break up, one level at a time. All right, and in this case, it has clearly broken down every single level. There's really nothing left in ETH to hold price up in terms of trend lines. All right, significant trend lines that were useful in the first half of 2019. Now that we're in the second half of 2019, we could create new trend lines, but for now, the only real trend line I see is this yellow one right here. And this white one, which is, again, resistance. All right. If price somehow breaks above this white trend line, then we look for this black trend line, right? So the most the price could probably get up to with a straight shot up is 230. Okay. And if we get past this, the most price could get up to is 240. Okay. And if we get past that, then, straight up again, 270 is the next target. But for now, all we can do is look at this, right? We see basically, a pullback on the price around this yellow trend line right here, as well as close to the white. But again, if price moves straight down, touches 10.4, and then shoots back up towards this, descending bull flag, that could bring price of ETH, at least up here to 220s, maybe 230. Okay. LTC also same thing. Things are looking a bit more weaker. Only thing I can say about LTC is it's really just trapped in this descending channel. I don't know if it's even a channel, but it's really just that same sort of trend line that we're seeing right now. Something like this. Ignoring this wick, all you see is a touch right there, touch right there, touch right there, touch right there. And, potentially we can move back up towards $80, maybe 84, 85, and then push back down. So all this is happening with, the great rising wedge of Bitcoin dominance hitting very critical resistance levels. Price really just consolidating in this flag, really not showing strength just yet to keep on moving. Even, something that concerns me on volume is really just a lack of volume right here. I was hoping to kind of keep this consistently rising. The highest volume we got was in these two candles right here. I was hoping that, hopefully after this one and this one, there'd be a very big sort of, bazooka style candle, but that didn't happen. So if after this sell candle, we do see a higher rising, volume candle, I might be a little bit alleviated by that. But for now, the volume is kind of just lackadaisical, and it's really just lacking strength. Okay. Let's see. What else do we need to talk about? Yeah, other than that, I do expect, like I said, that 11.1 target to be hit. Let's see. Sorry, I don't know what's going on over here. All right, 11.1 target right here. Okay, I still do expect that area to be hit, because if we're truly supposed to go down further, at the very least, we can open up, some shorts up here, and then, I don't care where it tanks. I'll just close out my longs. I'll close out majority of my spot buys, and then ride this wave down. Again, I don't really mind, either way, whichever way the market goes, because we trade both ways, right? If you join Cryptosomniac.com and you hit this products page right here, all right, you can buy my technical analysis course, and we can teach you how to short and long in different markets, or you can buy the Advantage membership right here, where you can come trade with us in all these different channels. Okay, we provide updates right here for Bitcoin analysis. We have, channels right here where I can show you guys yesterday that I closed out some of my position around 10,710. Again, I'm already under that price, even though I didn't hit this top exactly, which again, I don't need to, right? Because it's not anywhere near my target. My targets were 10.7 or 11.1. All right. So at the very least, all I can do is say we got in at a good time because we opened the position around 10.2. Okay. Got out with 50%. Closed out 50% of my position with a nice 30% profit. And now we're kind of just waiting, right? But yeah, folks, that's really it. You can come join Cryptosomniac, the Advantage program, or buy this course right here. And I think it's only $10, okay? If you actually click on add cart, yeah, actually you can see right here, 9 days left, $9.99, folks, for $9 or $10, I guess. You will get 7 free days in the Advantage membership, okay? So all these locked channels that you see, you will get access to all of those, okay? The short terms, the medium terms, the long terms, what positions we have open, what are our targets, what are our stops, what kind of longs or shorts are we taking, What are some fundamentals about, good coins for the long term? Here's our community chat right here where we discuss, everything. This is our Advantage membership chat where people are, very busy from all different time frames all over the world. And, people love talking about crypto. They love trading. Because remember, folks, hodling is not an investment strategy. It's not any strategy that anyone's ever heard of. It's a crypto sort of, phenomenon that people say that if you just hodl, you'll make money in the long term. But more than likely, in the long term, a lot of people lose more money than they would make. Just because things have been true so far, just of Bitcoin, doesn't mean they're going to hold true forever, right? And also, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to sell properly. You're going to understand where to take profits. You're going to understand where to either double down or, short the position or long, right? So if you want to understand these things, come join the Cryptosomniac community. All right, so that's pretty much it. I talked about different time frames. I talked about potential targets we're still looking at, watching out for this white trend line as well as this 10-4 marker. And on the daily time frame, like I said, watch that 10-3 level right there so a daily doesn't close under it, hopefully. Okay. And if things do start breaking down, look out for this black trend line, because then the 8,000 levels open up. And then obviously that would bring LTC more than likely back towards the $50 and some change level. Okay, and then Ethereum it would bring back to 150. And that would be actually, here's another thing. I wanted to show you guys this XRP chart that I drew. Okay, this I drew not too long ago. Here's something interesting about XRP. Okay, so XRP has been in this channel for like the last 4 years. Okay, so every time it hits the top, it comes back to this bottom right here, and then again it goes to its top. Again, I don't like all this white space, but it's been fairly useful so far, right? So you can see with this channel, right, it's coming back to the bottom again, okay? I would say that this is really not that useful, this trend line, because this trend line could be stretched out a bit further. And you could say, hey, why not something like this, right? Yeah, it's very possible. I don't know exactly where XRP is going to land. All I know for sure is that it will probably land more than likely somewhere in this area right here. Okay, so anywhere around where it is right now could be the bottom, or at the very least, it'll be going down to 15 cents or maybe 17 or so. Okay, and then it could pop off again. And again, like I said, that would be the perfect way for Bitcoin to just crap on every single alt, bring them down to the lowest levels, make everyone capitulate because they think that crypto is just never going up. All right, it looks like it's time to sell everything, and then it just surprises everyone. Okay, and then Bitcoin takes off from 8,000 levels or so. The alts take off, if Ethereum being as low as 150, XRP being as low as 15 cents, LTC coming down to $50 and some change. All these alts are going to be looking very attractive. And I think this is really something that we want to keep in mind. I think that's really what's at play right now, okay? Which is that I think Bitcoin, in my opinion, if it doesn't keep on moving past this level and regain that dominance, I think it has nothing but downside, the mid 8,000, because that would be the perfect catalyst to bring that dominance back to Earth and then allow it to take off, for a refuel of the rocket ship, if you will, with that analogy, and then push off again and then take the alts, some of the alts up with it. Like XRP will go from basically 15 cents or 17 cents all the way up to, I don't know, who knows, like 90 cents or even back to, this high right here, like $3 over the course of, I don't know, maybe a year or so. Or even if I went back over here, right, to 50 cents, this previous high, or this high right here around 60 cents. Okay, so even if Ethereum went back to 150 and then went back to that previous high of 360, that's still basically double your money right there, right? If LTC went from $50 or $60 all the way to 140, again, that's slightly over double your money, right? So I think that's really what I'm seeing right now is, if we cannot get past this level soon up here, then more than likely we have that mid 8,000 levels to look out for. All right. So I hope this helps, folks. Not trying to scare anyone. I think there's just things that you want to keep in mind, right? You don't want to be aggressively bullish. You also don't want to be aggressively bearish. Just stay in the middle. Go with the flow, adapt, and you will, survive and thrive, right? Just like nature, right? So same thing in the trading markets, the financial markets is, you have to adapt with the charts. Don't get too bullish. Don't get too bearish. Just trade the technicals. Trade the chart as is, and you'll be just fine. Manage your risk properly, okay? Alrighty. Again, if you don't know how to short or long, if you don't know what I'm talking about in terms of the technicals, how the RSI works, all these different charts that I've showed you so far, come join Cryptosomniac community or pick up my course right here. Again, if you click on it, it's only $9.99 for today. So if you buy it, come in here, message me right here and say you bought the course, show me a screenshot, and I will give you 7 days in the Advantage program. Okay? So with that being said, folks, enjoy your day, and I will see y'all soon, hopefully. All right? Take care. Cheers.